Good morning and welcome to our November edition of State of Art. I'm Bree Pappan and today we are talking about creative healing, where creativity meets healing for Pueblo's youth. The Arts Alliance for Health has created a cross-sector pathway to support youth mental health through partnerships and immersive opportunities. At a recent meet and greet in Pueblo last month, I had the opportunity to learn more about the success that this organization has had with creating accessibility for creative expression through the arts, specifically the fine arts, music, and theater, as a powerful tool for supporting youth mental health, and how partnering with Pueblo arts-based organizations is activating this approach for our community's youth. Today, I am so grateful to have three thought leaders in this movement from Pueblo with me, excluded company of Emma. Thank you so much for coming down from Denver today. I really appreciate you. I have Roxanne Pignanelli, Kennedy Pugh, and Emma Gilchrist. Thank you so much for you all being here today. I appreciate you.
Yes, good to be here.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Emma, I wanted to start with you. Please tell us about the Arts Alliance for Health and how it got started.
Great. Well, I'm so happy to be with you this morning and with Kennedy and Roxy. So the Arts Alliance for Health is a collaboration between the Farley Health Policy Center at University of Colorado Anschutz and Cleo Parker Robinson Dance in Denver. And it's led by the executive director of our center, Dr. Shale Wong, and Malik Robinson from Cleo Parker Robinson Dance. The two of them have been working on this intersection between arts and health for years. And in 2020, our organizations received a grant from the Colorado Health Foundation to start to explore this further and what it would be to build an Arts Alliance for Health. And so we've been working at it for the last few years in this academic community partnership. And really trying to build a statewide movement that brings together arts and health to advance community health through policy and advocacy and improving civic health and civic participation. And so we know that health equity is local, health challenges and health solutions are all local. And so it's been really fun to work very closely with Kennedy, who's been our community liaison in Pueblo, to really implement and advance the work here in Pueblo.
Awesome, fantastic. And I loved having, I went to the meet and greet and I loved meeting you and hearing more about what kinds of things you were doing, had success with in Denver. Tell us about some of the, particularly about the summer camp and the other internship possibilities that you developed in Denver, in the Denver area.
Sure. Yeah. So really starting some of this work in our own neighborhood in Denver. One of the programs that we're very proud of is called the Mental Health is Wealth High School Summer Internship Program. And so this is, again, a partnership with the Arts Alliance through the Farley Center and Cleo Parker Robinson Dance with funding from Caring for Denver Foundation, as well as partnership with the Denver Youth Employment Program and some other philanthropic givers. And so this is an opportunity for high school students to have a paid summer internship. They are placed with community organizations as a kind of typical paid internship experience. And then once a week, they come together as a full cohort to participate in behavioral health and mental health well-being curriculum and arts experiences. So those weekly workshops are facilitated with a team of community-based artists and behavioral health providers to really kind of teach youth mental health well-being skills and then how that ties to artistic expression. So they're learning, they might start the day learning about breathing and somatic experiences and then move into an afternoon of learning how to write song lyrics and express emotion through that, as well as box breathing to work their way through the song. And so it's a really powerful partnership between arts and health to equip high schoolers with those skills.
That's fantastic. I would like to turn to Roxanne Pignanelli. Pignanelli. I'm so sorry. I knew I was going to hack
Roxy's
that.
Good.
Roxy's. Turn to Roxy. Roxy is the president of Pignanelli Partners, consultants in arts education and thought leadership, and founder of the Arts Academy at Pueblo County High. Roxy, I know that you have, it was through C.A.T.C.H, correct, that you also facilitated a program similar to what was going on at the Arts Alliance. Can you tell us a little bit about your success with that program as well?
Sure. And I didn't know you guys were doing, how many years were you doing the?
For 3 summers.
That's killer. Part of this grant, C.A.T.C.H, which is a creative, it's a creative arts and healing for youth. We change the acronym all the time because there's so many opportunities to change it. But we got a grant also from the Colorado Health Foundation. Extraordinary supporters of, I think, a lot of great ideas in certainly in this community. And the notion was to build upstream preventative programs for mental health in youth that are all arts-based. So utilizing all those modalities of music, dance, theater, and art in a way that children can explore the arts, which is, I think, a religion to us, my team, first and foremost, of how it civilizes us, how it helps us to understand the human condition, how it helps us to collaborate, you know. These are ancient forms from the Greeks and how they had such exceptional society. And to start there, but to have that clinical oversight in all of those modalities in a way that they were also able to look at, as Emma said, the way they feel and express through music, through writing, through drama, to get to the inner core of who they are, their authentic voice, and things that may be troubling them or exciting them. Mm-hmm. And so this came out of our original production of No One Hears Unless You Scream, which is a teen suicide prevention play that we've done for about 8 years. It came out of the Arts Academy at County High, and I say we because I've worked many years with Kennedy Pugh, who is a partner, and other individuals that we have brought on throughout our process. But at the end of the day, for children to be able to find ways to get to know themselves and to get to understand through safe messaging how to keep strong mental health and resiliency. So from there, the C.A.T.C.H project was to take this into an extension to create a center where families can come, self-referral, preventatively, before a child is in trouble, before there are issues. We have a lot of great programs and therapists and the integration of the arts once someone is already in peril or maybe incarcerated or in treatment. But what we know we're lacking, not just here but in the country, is how do we use this in a preventative way? You know, how are we teaching them to swim before they're thrown into the end of the pool? So we did a camp this summer and did a different modality every day, working with individuals from all over the state, where we had arts therapists, teaching artists, and artists, because we believe it's that triumvirate that really best suits, so the child's not getting so much mental health therapy and not enough art, and not enough, too much art and not enough of that resiliency process. So we had a great summer project, 25 kids, worked with boys and girls. They went every day. And what we learned, which was what we would hope we were going to learn, that they loved it, they wanted more of it, and the realization that I think I'd like to maybe sit and go through some talk therapy, which we know they're not responding to as that first point of entry, right. But this, in fact, did give them the process, the experience, and the vocabulary to say, I'd like to talk to somebody.
And what is the age group that participated in the camps?
They were grades 9 through 12.
Okay.
And C.A.T.C.H is a program that essentially would be, in its full fruition, would be 10 years old to 22 if we could, okay. Simply because of the way the brain forms. Mm-hmm. But what we concentrate on now is middle and high school to be able to implement our programs, get our data. And in fact, the work we're doing, although C.A.T.C.H is a planning grant and we're building the project, we are in a partnership with District 70 and our play therapist in our team Tara Strosenruther now has elementary, middle, and high school cohorts that she's beginning to work with in play therapy with some teaching artists to not only provide this service with the district, but for us to also see how we can develop it where more families can take part.
It's amazing. I thank you so much. Kennedy, I wanted to ask you a few things about, I noticed that as part of the meet and greet that I attended in October, there was brought to you by Rocky Mountain Creative Experience, of which you are the CEO, United Way, Pueblo Arts Alliance, and of course the Arts Alliance for Health. What was the notion behind creating that meet and greet and right now?
Yeah, well, it was about being a connector. We realized that the importance of storytelling is really important right now, and that there are some nonprofits that are out there that we wanted to connect with artists of all sorts and all disciplines. And that was the main purpose of it. And then we wanted to also model through a project that we did earlier in the year with the Pueblo Film Festival and the Colorado Alliance for Art and Health Equity, that a project that we did that talks about food and water in our community. It's a film that we're working on. We're still trying to get more funding on that, and so we showed that, and we wanted to show everyone that it's important to elevate these stories. It's important to come together. It's important to look to the artists, look to the creative industry, because we are the ones who can elevate the stories, who can bring empathy, who can help cultivate compassion within our society.
Thank you so much. Roxy, you had a great quote in an interview or a story that we did on C.A.T.C.H in February of this year. You said, "The arts provide an outlet that allows youth to explore emotions in a way that feels safe and natural. This initiative is about giving them a voice, a way to process what they're experiencing, and the skills to build resilience for the future." Where would you like to, starting now, where would you like to enact C.A.T.C.H, incorporate the Arts Alliance for Health, the Rocky Mountain Creative Experience, in terms of putting together a program that is geared towards a wider range of Pueblo's youth? What are the ingredients of creating that ideal program right now for Pueblo's youth?
Well, if in the perfect world, and I'm going to be very forthright here, I'm very interested in the bottom floor of the PBR building on the Riverwalk. It's $1.2 million. I'd like to buy it for $1 from the city and have Urban Renewal restore it. It's actually a space that is really fabulous, and since it was built in 2006, no one's really been in it. It requires certain regulations for anyone doing it. But
we believe in full transparency at the PSJ. So now's the time to speak your mind.
And we've envisioned this space, and we've seen it, and we know how productive it would be, but also the ability for referral. I think Kennedy's company and the Alliance has an opportunity to engage artists that would work with families, and the arts therapists. As I said, it takes that sort of triumvirate, that group, so that you balance, because a lot of people are reluctant to feel that, particularly kids, that they need therapy or to ask for, or that the label that is put, we still have that stigma. But the other thing is this, and not to trick a kid into, here, we're going to give you some help, but the arts are civilizing, They're a civilizing force in our society. They always have been, the great societies. We wish there were more arts programs in the schools. Frankly, I think the marriage of children being able to introduce the Arts Academy at County High is a full-blown school.
Do you feel like the Arts Academy would be kind of an overarching platform to breathe, those things into the project, since it's already an established area?
Well said. And I think what it does is it has taught us, because the Academy is 8 years now. Kennedy and I were in the inception when I was working in the district, and he was developing all the teaching artists. We discovered that the children that were coming there, regardless of whether they had intentions of becoming professional artists or technicians, that what it did for them is gave them a sense of peace, and it gave them a sense of place to come to school, to learn, to be encouraged, to be creative. And so that is an incredible platform. But to be able to engage all of the local artists so that they could also be partners with bona fide, certified arts therapists. And we don't have all those people in this community. But if you have, for instance, a drama therapist, which is difficult to find, but
that seems like a very specific vocation.
Yeah,
drama therapist.
It is. And if we have difficulty in having them at the ready in our community to be in the center every day of the week, we can bring them from Denver. They can work with interns that are studying this. They can work with artists. And then if they're gone for the rest of the week, but we have them one day a week to see children in that particular modality, we will have a team of people with clinical oversight from other therapists that we have, that we can continue the work throughout the week. So it's a whole model that we would use with the Arts Alliance in, what's the exact name? Arts Alliance for Health. And certainly Kennedy's connection, but he's part of this team, so that it almost reads like a center where different artists and different arts therapists who form clusters working with children in different modalities. It's almost like having a beautiful salon with different stylists that come and go, and it's got a cooperative feel to it, and there's an ability to refer kids and families in the different modalities. Art is, as fine art, is probably the point of entry, and and this I've learned from people from the Ponzio program at Anschutz that Emma and her team work with, that fine art is probably the easiest point of entry for people to engage when they're getting in this therapeutic mode. Then we go to music, then to drama, and actually dance is the most difficult because of the expectation of how technically sound you are. But I see us working with every artist who is interested in becoming part of the healing process, but also teaching people about their art, and then also as many therapists that we can bring to our community, or even if they're coming in just to work in the center and go back to Denver or Springs or Greeley or wherever they live, but also that we can develop programs in our colleges, because arts therapy, in my opinion, will be one of the most critical aspects of what we introduce in every community, in every school in the future. We have to teach ourselves to be able to heal and talk to each other again.
Roxy and Kennedy, from your experience with working with the youth of our community in the arts realm, in terms of the reception that you get from kids, do you have a sense that if this were available to them, do you think they would take part in it readily?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. That's not the issue. Yeah. It really, I don't think it's ever been the issue.
What is the main issue behind that roadblock? Or is there a roadblock?
I think that Roxy could probably speak to it a little bit, can articulate it a little bit better. Okay. So I'm going to pass it on to her.
Pass it back. Okay. We won't talk about the gestures that are happening right now in front of me, in front of Emma.
He is my work husband after all. I think that the obstacles are obviously, and Kennedy actually articulates this better than anybody because of his engagement with so many organizations. It is the stigma in mental health. It is the notion that what's wrong with me, or there's nothing wrong with me, or when you live in a community where there is so many cycles of poverty and oppression and deprivation, the last thing you want to do is
throw something else into it.
This is it. Yeah. This is it. And I think also that we have failed in public education because we think that in order for our children to to achieve that they have to sit and get. And it's that old Sputnik theory that we have to have engineers with science and math to fight the Russians, and we eradicated the funding. Yeah, Sputnik, it's called. Reagan. And that we've sort of eradicated the significance of arts programs and how that helps a child throughout the day to feel not just kinesthetically how they're learning and how they're moving about and play, the anxious generation, the whole notion of play and plenty of play, but also to be able to know that they have an authentic voice. What they're creating is not just something that they're being told that they have to think and know and get out of that sit and get. So I would say that one of the big obstacles is public education. Is that directed at administrators and teachers and school boards? Not entirely. We know that in the greatest country and the richest country in the world, we should have flourishing arts programs, but it's an easy way to cut. But I will say that we also have to have communities that insist on those arts programs in the schools. When children have those programs in the schools and they can just be able to take a break in the day of that sitting and getting, they are happier children. I feel that's a major
barrier in terms of our community, looking at that in terms of the insistence of the parents and the school people that are contributing the programs, creating programs in schools. That I feel like that's where the disconnect is in terms of the insistence of having those programs in schools. Instead, they would rather take kids on Friday to another program outside of the school and have them participate in that, why can't they have an immersive activity while they're in school or throughout the day to not be a disrupt for kids to participate in?
Yeah, and I do want to go back and touch on something that was kind of said earlier, is that I also think that, of course, it's what we invest in as well. And I think that our communities and just generally, not just the community of Pueblo, but on a national and global level, and especially national and locally, is that we have been reactive instead of proactive, and we keep on. And some of that's about investment, because like right now there's a lot of lack of finances to really support the reactive programs that are out there of just saying, how do we help these kids that are in trouble right now? But we really do need to go upstream.
Right.
We really do need to go upstream, as Roxy mentioned earlier. And that's the way to
head it off before it even gets to that point.
Stop it.
Yeah. Emma, I wanted to ask you, as somebody who's worked at length with, maybe not at length, but consistently with Pueblo practitioners, what do you feel like, why do you feel Pueblo would be a perfect platform to introduce this type of programming?
It's a great question, and I think it's evident by the two people who are sitting.
Right, I know. I'm interested in somebody. I'm interested in your opinion. Yeah, I'm interested in your opinion because, you're coming from further north, and I would like to have you speak on that as an outsider, somebody you've been able to observe the things happening in Pueblo, and maybe that's mirrored a community that you've worked in before, or mirrored a situation that you've worked with before. So how does that make Pueblo a better platform for introducing this type of programming?
Yeah. So to start our work, we for a year did what we were calling the Momentum Tour, which was really just kind of listening tours and getting to know and build connections in different communities. And so Pueblo was one of those in our first round of visits.
Our No One Hears Unless You Scream was part of that Momentum Tour.
Okay.
Exactly.
Right.
What we did was we kind of paired community conversations with an arts event, and so that was one of the opportunities that was part of it. And I think just the commitment to Pueblo youth, recognizing the moment that to address mental health, really thinking going upstream, from more of a public health and preventative approach, and just really committed leaders in the community. Creates kind of that, you were asking, Roxy, about the ingredients, the recipe for local success.
I know an existing mental health organization here, and I'm just wondering why maybe they haven't enacted or partnered or reached out to you in terms of, that's a great idea, we would like to assist. So have you approached, or are there any to approach in Pueblo that you feel would be suitable partners to help facilitate this in terms of a clinical or medical background? Roxy.
When we first received the grant, we spent a couple of months daily throughout the day meeting with a number of different mental health organizations and individual clinics and therapists, and all the way from Health Solutions, which is the sort of flagship institution with services, to individuals who work with children, to let them know what we were doing, how we were going in this planning concept, which was building an airplane in the sky. Part of which is, and I am eager for people to correct me, but the research we've done ongoing is there is no C.A.T.C.H as a pure concept in this country. Sweden, Norway, but the idea that you're doing all upstream. So would we necessarily have beds for children in ideation? Would we be utilizing psychiatrists for medical, for pharmaceutical or therapy? No, not really. Those would be referrals. Those are other individuals. Okay. This is something that creates the concept of arts as preventative medicine and preventative healing and creativity. So we did meet, and also with people that work in with incarcerated youth, because and it was difficult conversations, in that we could tell that people were looking at us like, who the hell do you think you are? Do you have any idea how difficult this work is and what we're doing with children that are so far downstream, or that have, and we've worked with the families of children who have taken their lives. So we understand what it means to come in the door and go, hey, we're going to do this up front here and catch everybody before it's too late. It appears at times to be so lofty and so foreign, but somebody's got to do it.
Yeah.
Because we've got to start somewhere. And we learned that when we were in school, when we created and we've done that with kids all along, but actually creating the academy and doing the play, going, these kids, some of these kids were just doing the play because they wanted to be in a play, and then went, wait a minute, I'm discovering some things about me, about other kids in school, how I'm not cognizant of their feelings, how I have to be more intuitive. So we did talk to a number of organizations about what we were doing and how we would do it. That is not to say that we couldn't partner with them, but this particular specialty of being an arts therapist, and we honor them, and we honor their schooling, and we honor what they do, was critical that we engage them in a way that they work with the arts as a base of their therapy. So it's not traditional talk therapy per se, or other modes, and then finding those people and knowing that you do have to have a certification, and they do find, it's like anything else. You want to have the right surgeon, as opposed to just general if there's something very specific. So they're all coming around. I think at first it was a foreign concept. We're being very well supportive. I will call out an individual, Katie Ledbetter, who is a top executive at Health Solutions, who I got to know well and has been an incredible support mechanism, is a licensed arts therapist in all the modalities. So it was great to have those conversations with somebody who has the vocabulary. And we are not therapists. We are the theater and arts people. We're the producers. We're the creative thinkers. We are the organizers. But we never, ever, ever, I have to go on record, do anything with children in any capacity of our projects without partners in mental health.
Right. Exactly. So something that I've That's okay. You can hold it, Kennedy. Something that I've become aware of is that discussion-based therapy is the most one of the most popular types of therapy with children, with youth, starting with 13, 14-year-olds old, or youth that choose to go to therapy or that seek out therapy. However, a clinician or a therapist that is actually licensed in DBT is few and far between. They're very hard to find. So the youth's ability to open up and to somebody, to a therapist, first of all, is intimidating. Second of all, it's something that's totally foreign to them and something that's very uncomfortable. So I think that initiating this immersive programming for youth to be able to take a part in this type of programming is going to open up a whole window of opportunity for kiddos that have things inside of them that maybe they don't even feel like they can discuss with their parents, or even a mentor, somebody they seek as a mentor. Is that something else that you want to maybe weave into the program in terms of creating a mentor or creating kind of a safe space for kiddos that participate?
I think it's already woven into what the program already. I mean, just in and of itself, that's what it brings forth. It brings it brings forth that ability to, it cultivates an atmosphere that kids do feel comfortable in opening up, and they realize how much more that we all have issues, that we all have those things inside, that it's part of the human experience, because that's what the arts do. It elevates the human experience. And so
when we began the project in January of this year, along with meeting with everybody, we created events, one of which was a citywide symposium on what it's like to be a teen today. And we had...
I'm sorry, I missed that. That's like...
It was great.
Amazing.
It was great. We had leaders. We had political leaders. We had community leaders, teachers, guardians, as in parents and all those various incarnations, teens, and mental health professionals. And we came together in the room, large room, and there was artwork on the table for people to participate together. And then our Native American group led by Sam Gallegos did a beautiful dance and a healing dance that we did together. And then we broke the cohorts up, and they went in different rooms with different leadership to talk about the issues and being a teen and what the issues are and how. And the kids were in large tables, and I happened to do this as the scribe with Tara, our play therapist. And the kids talked and afterwards said, why can't we just have this regularly where we can just come together and talk? There is a shroud, certain political oppression on teachers in schools on what they can talk about, and the fear and what is happening politically. And I know that for whatever the reasons are, and that's a whole other podcast, there's not enough of that. So we know then when we did...
like real world discussions that teachers can have with
and
kids.
When we did our camp, the first day, Catherine Reed, who was the originating arts therapist that created that Ponzio arts therapy program at the Anschutz Hospital, and Emma is very connected to them, a marvelous arts therapist, for 20 years this program functioning. She came and she led the arts therapy day at our camp this summer, 25 kids. And at one point they had done artwork and they were talking and discussing and expressing. And she walked over to me and said, I have another exercise to do, but it appears that they don't want to stop talking. What do you want me to do? And I said, let them go, let them talk. And they did for like another 3 or 4 hours. And our kids in this community, and it's all I know, I can't speak for anywhere else really, but this is our goal, this is our home, want and need an opportunity to talk to each other with the phones put away, and the ability to just share and trust. So absolutely, it will be an integral part of everything that we do so that they can first find fellowship, harmony, right? Vocabulary.
Non-electronic fellowship. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I was just going to add, I think, Jim, one thing as you were talking through that and your comments earlier about kind of talk therapy. I think we see in our communities and across the country just really significant workforce shortages with mental health providers, and knowing that not every child will have or youth will have access to that.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's another reason these types of programs are really important, because it builds it from that more preventive standpoint. And allows youth to build those skills to help manage their mental health and well-being through the arts, through whatever they choose for their artistic expression. Because the country and our communities, it's a mental health crisis, and we don't have the workforce for one-on-one therapy to help us out of it. And so it's needing to support these types of programs to help communities and youth become healthy.
Yeah. I think also it's important to note that, I'm aware of several other organizations that it's really important, and the kind of the cornerstone of the work they do is to meet the kiddos, meet the youth where they are at in terms of what they have access to. So if you're incorporating a program that brings all of these things together without having to go separately to a mental health provider, then it's not necessarily a facade of that not happening, but it gives kids more access to be able to participate in these things, which they may not have an opportunity otherwise. I want to let's take a quick break, and then when I come back, I want to just kind of I want to do, obviously, and something that we have been doing most often here at the Star Journal is closing the podcast with a call to action, because I think that's really important in our community. And I really think it just puts the question out there for people to start thinking about and putting things into action, not just the call to action. So let me take a quick break, and we'll be right back with Kennedy Pugh, Emma Gilchrist, and Roxy. Okay, thanks.
Homeownership is possible with a trusted partner.
It brings us a lot of joy to be able to say that this house is our own and that we've poured our hearts into making it our own.
Alyssa and Ryan are among the more than 155,000 people CHAFA has helped become homeowners since 1974. It starts with homebuyer education and connecting you with a statewide network of participating lenders. Get started at chfainfo.com/yourhome. CHAFA is an equal housing lender.
Okay, welcome back. This is Bree Pappan on State of Art, and I'm here with three fantastic individuals. Emma Gilchrist, who is the Deputy Director at Farley Health Policy Center and Senior Instructor at the Department of Family Medicine at the University of Colorado Anschutz Medical Campus. Kennedy Pugh, who is CEO of Rocky Mountain Creative Experience, and Roxanne Pignanelli. Did I say that right? Okay. President at Pignanelli Partners and founder of the Arts Academy at Pueblo County High. I just want to thank you all again for being here today, especially coming down from the north to join us. I appreciate it. It's a gorgeous day out, so fortunately for that. What I wanted to pose to all of you is just kind of along the same idea. I introduced the idea of neuroarts in an article last year. And neuroarts is the study, or neuroaesthetics, which is the study of the arts, merging of the arts and sciences, and being able to expose individuals of all ages, not just youth, to the arts a little bit every day. And it not only scientifically proven that the brain continues to grow as you are aging. That doesn't stop at any certain point. It doesn't stop when you're a teenager. It doesn't stop when you're a young adult. It still has the ability to grow into your senior years. So that notion, along with the ideas of immersive programming for youth, if we're going to appeal to our community of Pueblo, what are the things that you would wish to ask the community of Pueblo to help bring about for making this program materialize and solidify? We already heard from Roxy that she already has the place in mind. She has the program skeleton in terms of how to facilitate it. So what are the things that you would ask of our community in order to bring this forward, to make this progress in terms of making it a real thing and possibly a regular thing for the youth of our community? I don't know. That might be that's a huge question, I know. But just in terms of if you have somebody, an idea person that is listening, what are the things that you wish you could tell them that, if you help us make this program a reality, these are the things that we hope to help our community's youth with?
Yeah, and really help everybody, because when you help the community's youth, you are really helping the greater community. You are formulating and getting young people to become those informed and engaged citizens later on that will eventually bring a better community for all of us, right? I think that one of the things, some of it's about education, and some of it's really about like connecting the dots for people, because I think that in general that people really do want they need to see the value, mm-hmm. and they need the dots connected for them to make them realize that this is something that can really be of utility and of great benefit for not only, even if you don't have kids, right. That it's important for you to invest in this. And what to be a part of
a community that offers this.
Right? Yes, exactly. And what does that investment look like? Of course, there's, financial, of course, but I also think that there's an investment of advocacy that needs to happen as well, of really holding our local government, holding our local businesses and schools accountable to say that this is important for the well-being, for the wellness of our community.
That's well said, Kennedy. Thank you. Emma?
That's perfect, Kennedy. And that's kind of where I was going to, is kind of back to this idea of civic health and civic participation. And that looks like voting. That looks like showing up to school board meetings, to public safety meetings. It also looks like volunteerism, and where you can support organizations, bringing together, where we started the earlier conversation about bringing together nonprofit leaders with artists to figure out what are the skills and resources that each one can bring to productive partnerships. And so as part of that call to action, I think it's also a challenge to be open to new collaborations, to be kind of in an exploratory mindset of getting out of the way that we've done things all the time, which is hard to do when we have so much work to do, that it takes time to form new partners and to work together, but it's very rewarding.
Maybe what's been happening in the past, and it hasn't worked because we're not approaching it with new eyes or new ideas, and so just because it didn't work, worked in the past or is not working now, each generation is becoming more informed, especially the millennials of today, and the people that are in high school right now, the young people that are in college right now. They have so much knowledge in an arena that a majority of the population doesn't. So in terms of electronics and how to communicate in a different way. So I think meeting them where they are in terms of that and understanding about trying to draw out different ways in which we communicate with each other, putting that down and introducing that. I think that's just the best avenue to start with. Roxy?
First of all, 100% what Kennedy and Emma have said with regard to the way those relationships are established, the sensibility, the commitment to a philosophy of how your community should have that incredible eclipse of creativity. But I spent a great deal of my life, in my previous life, in the professional theater and music, marrying audiences with artists. And it's a huge quantum leap from people to go from maybe a music class in elementary school to then later becoming an arts enthusiast or a subscriber. And what we have to do is commit in communities to attending the arts, to engaging with these live performances, to going to the galleries. The mythology is that there is no point of entry for me if I am not wealthy, if I am not white and privileged. This belongs to everyone. This is a religion in the arts that belongs to everyone. And to take that opportunity to just go and see something, and for arts organizations to make it a pay what you can, or a free day, or a business to say, we're buying the tickets today to make sure these people can go. And not just kids going on a school bus,
right,
but entire communities of individuals who are frightened to walk through the threshold because I don't see myself on that stage, or I don't know myself in this particular work. But we have to make it as accessible and as part of the culture, because it is for everyone, and that has to happen. And I actually think, and this was a concept we worked on before, and I hope to see us do it again. I say us as in Kennedy and I and our other partners, to create a real bona fide arts commission in our community with people that really understand, and not to threaten anyone that they will not be included, but to really understand how we marry the business with the arts organization, the project with the audience, the children with the artists. It is a beautiful opportunity to create those points of entry, whatever it is, and make sure that happens, because then it's as easy as going to their church, going to their school, going to their shop, sitting outside in a park. It should be that easy in our culture.
Absolutely. I really appreciate you saying that about the Arts Commission and saying those things about the accessibility of our community, because Pueblo is a unique community in that there are many people that experience poverty in our community, and I think we need to meet them there, and we need to understand where they're coming from. And I think, Roxy, as a Pueblo native, as somebody who is very engulfed in this community, Kennedy, as you are very engulfed in this community, you have an understanding because you are immersed in it. So in terms of bringing something like that to light, having someone else be that voice for bringing together the arts and the business aspect and all of the things in this community. So I want to thank you again for saying that. I want to thank you for joining me today, Kennedy Pugh, Emma Gilchrist, and Roxanne Pignanelli. I really appreciate any last words, Kennedy?
No, it's been great. And just thank you for having us. And we thank you for doing this.
Of course.
I mean, it's important that that we keep the arts alive in our community.
Absolutely. That is something, I'm doing a shameless, being able to have this podcast and write for the Star Journal is a shameless way for me to feed my passions. And so not just verbally on the podcast in print, but trying to be an activator in the community to bring light and visibility to happenings, to organizations, to things that are going on here, or trying to build things that are trying to happen or trying to gain momentum, but they just need to get the word out. We just need to give them a little high sign. Yeah. And that's kind of something that I've been behind is, Chris Bevins, who is an amazing artist, who was at at the meet and greet. He had an amazing little saying above his work. He is an extraordinary portrait artist and artist in general. The art of showing up. And that just really pretty much coined it for me. And I was like, God, that's it. That's totally it. Is, we can bring all of these things to you, to the community, and create access in any way. But we just want you to show up. We just want you to come, And if you don't show up and you don't show interest, and we can't make you go. We can't force you to be there. But we must never tire of giving you the opportunity to do that. So I think that's really something that we need to pursue in this community. And
I want to thank you and Gregory Howell, Molly Cotner, those of you that are doing this work, because we do suffer having lost our newspaper, if you will, this alternative paper, this opportunity to read about things that have depth and creativity. I'm really grateful to you because we pitch a lot, but we never get an opportunity to talk, in this format with people like Emma and the amazing work they're doing at the Alliance for Arts Alliance for Health. We don't, and we can't be so diminished that we don't have this opportunity. I'm grateful to you. I know that you put a lot of time and effort in keeping this alive.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, and I would just echo that. It's been really fun to have this conversation together, and thank you for sharing the stories.
Of course. Thank you for coming down. I was so excited to know that you were going to be joining us today in person. I really appreciate you all. Thank you so much for being here, and join us next time on State of Art.